So we left the last episode on a bit of a question, and that was just how much money do we attempt to spend? We lost in the wild card round to Houston. They ended up going to the Super Bowl and losing, which again, I don't know how that makes me feel. I don't know if I ever want to lose to the eventual winner because it's like, oh, well, at least we lost to the winner. I don't like to lose regardless. Point being, we're preparing for our next season, our fourth season with the Bills, and we have the opportunity to try and spend a shitload of money here. And I wanted to know, is it a little bit cheap to try and go all in like we're attempting to do? You guys are on board with it. There's no way that we're going to get every person you see here. That's just not going to happen. Teams will come in with late offers and trump us, and it is what it is. But we have offers out for Kareem Hunt, David Njoku, Trent Williams, Jason Kelce, Cooper Kupp, Jonathan Allen, and I also sent an offer out to Rigoberto Sanchez because we need a better punter, and Blackburn isn't going to develop, and we might not be done, depending on who declines, when they decline, and what options we have. We do have the backup option, running back with Christian McCaffrey. Of course, he is a pure receiving back. There's no doubt that Kareem Hunt, despite there only being a 1 overall point difference, is the better option there. If we don't get Cooper Kupp, we could get Chris Godwin. If we don't get David Njoku, I probably won't look at another tight end, even though O.J. Howard is okay. But you get the point, the big money option there. I'd rather just go for Holier, who we already have, as opposed to O.J. Howard. There's a lot of options. And then, of course, the idea of bringing in Olivier Vernon and Matt Milano as backup linebackers. Do we go for Patrick Peterson if we have the chance? Maybe even a Jabril Peppers. There's a lot that could happen just in free agency. That's not even talking about the draft that we will be getting to here shortly, where we already have 2 first-round picks, and who knows what kind of damage we'll do there, because I'm still undecided as of this exact moment whether or not I'm sticking with Josh Allen or trying to trade up for that quarterback who is projected number 1. That said, all of that said, the very least we know that we're looking to trade Shane Ray to free up a little bit of space. Mike Hilton's also an option, but I don't want to get rid of him unless we bring in somebody better. So let's see if there's an option for Shane Ray, and the Bengals should actually be that option. I mean, top 10 pick for Shane Ray, I feel like that's fair. Okay, it was close. It was worth a shot, at least. How about a second and a third, just to gauge interest? How about just a second? Okay, we're close at least. I want that second round pick. And we do have the draft picks to give away here. So, you could already see the thirds and the fourths. Jesus. What about 1 5th round pick and Shane Ray for a second round pick? There we go. I will take it. So, Shane, we'll see you later. You provided good depth until certain people developed, in which case we didn't need you anymore. I do want to take a look. $2.7 million in cap room, so we're not going to have the option. Actually, it's 3.6. We're not going to have the option to be like, send an offer to Patrick Peterson. It's not going to happen. I mean, that's a 43-point offer. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens with the offers that we already have out. So again, we will see what happens with all of these guys and who we end up getting. Moment of truth. Let's do it to stage 2. Who will be joining the Buffalo Bills, if anybody? And David Njoku rejected. That's upsetting. I really wanted him. I really did. Who else? Trent Williams rejected too. Okay, next. Kareem Hunt. Okay, we got Kareem Hunt, which is good. Seeing as we lost LaShawn McCoy to retirement, Bryce Love was good. But we just brought in a true game changer in Kareem Hunt. Okay, and Njoku and Williams really wanted them, didn't get them. We just got a top 10 running back. That balances out a little bit. I'm really upset about Njoku. Next up, 4th, Cooper Kupp has also signed. All right, so we have 2 out of 4 so far. We don't get Njoku or Williams, but we get Hunt and Cooper Kupp. Next up, Jason Kelce rejects, so we won't get either of the 2 veteran options on the O-line. Is that it? That is for now. Okay, so out of that first 5, we get Kareem Hunt and Cooper Kupp. Not a bad bit of business, and that gives us some more money to work with. So I'm good with that. I am good with that. So let's take a look. The only offers out still are for Jonathan Allen and Sanchez. So we can take a look. Again, quarterback-wise, the only guy I'd even consider is Blake Bortles. We might as well stay with Allen or draft his replacement. Running back-wise, we're good to go. Hilariously, it would be kind of funny to bring in Christian McCaffrey and just have him be like a third down back as a receiving back. Funny enough, we could afford it. That would, wow, could you imagine? I'm not saying I'm going to do that, but I might. Because could you imagine having Christian McCaffrey just as a third down receiving back? Holy shit. Wide receiver-wise, Willie Snead is the top option available at this point in time. Zay Jones has offers. He might end up being a Patriot, but we're not going to go for anybody else there. We're good for now. The option of trading Kelvin Benjamin's there, but there's no one else I'd rather bring in right now to have him replace. O.J. Howard is there. I really might go forward with that McCaffrey option. Let's be stupid about this, shall we? Let me take a look at O.J. Howard. 101-point offer, though, from Oakland makes this very unlikely. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Okay, offensive line-wise, we're set. I mean, we're not. We're okay, but we didn't get any of the game changers. Defensive line, Hendrickson, of course, we're not going for. Dontari Poe, we're not going for. The guy we're looking at here is Allen and potentially moving him or Shaq Lawson to defensive tackle. That way we still have Fowler Jr. and Joe Jackson, who will continue to develop. So we need to up this offer a little bit, and he's still not looking for all that much. This would still be worth it. 83-point offer gives us a slight edge on Pittsburgh. I'm tempted to go a little bit higher than that because we can, but any further, and it's going to be a tad bit more expensive than maybe it should be. We'll go up to 85 points. Linebacker-wise, do we have anybody? Vernon's still there, and Matt Milano is still there. I'm not against bringing back Milano. Again, we have Edmonds on the left, Gardner Johnson on the right. We do need some options. And if I bring back Matt Milano, at the very least, then I don't have to rely on drafting a ton of linebackers. What would the point offer be with this? 80-something? 95. Okay, so we're going to drop that just a little bit. And by just a little bit, I mean a lot of it. Let's see, 10.4 over 3 years, 76-point offer. I'm still going to drop that. I'm going to try to get Milano for an extremely cheap offer, and we'll see what's up. So 71 points there. We'll see if he accepts that. Corner-wise, all the top options I wanted to look at are gone. That's okay. We're fine. And we'll keep Hilton. Safety-wise, Jabril Peppers is still there, but to bring him in on a 102-plus point offer as a depth option simply isn't going to happen. So the offers we have out right now, Allen, Sanchez, and Milano as a depth linebacker. We'll see what happens, but those will be the final three that we send out, and then we'll focus on the draft from there. In terms of scouting players, I believe we're still looking at linebackers. The big question here is Nick Foley, the guy. Number 1 on the big board, Mike Bauer at 4. Depends on who we'd end up liking more than that, but let's take a look here. So linebacker-wise, indeed, that is where we stop. So let's take a look at Asiodu, who is terrible. 4th-round options as well, just to burn these final few points. And again, we're probably going to need at least 1 or 2 linebackers as depth options. Anyway, we pretty much have everybody scouted out, too, that we'd want to scout out. Running back-wise, we don't have to worry about it. Wide receivers good. Tight end, everyone was terrible. And we know that we're pretty much good to go. Although Frantesi Hollowell is one hell of a name. And I am quite tempted. So I think we'll just waste the points, so to speak, on linebackers. Although, Clayton Malone, out of nowhere. Take a late look at you as you're half decent. So let's just burn through these 5th-round options, even if they're terrible. Just let me burn through that. As we make our way to the draft, we should get a response from the final 3. Let's see what happens. Option 1, who will it be? It's Rigoberto Sanchez, who has signed, so Blackburn will be traded or released. Allen's accepted, and Milano has accepted. Tremendous. So we end up getting all 3. Free agency-wise, we're pretty much good to go. And now we get to look forward towards the draft where, am I going to take my sweet time getting there? Probably, because again, still don't know exactly who I want to try and get out of this situation. Needless to say, though, if there's someone who's actually half decent, I'm not going to hesitate in trading up. We're not going to have a repeat from last year. We don't have to talk about it, but you know what I'm referencing. You know what I'm referencing and who I'm referencing. In particular, We don't have to talk about it, though. Please don't make me talk about it. Is there anybody else here? Anybody at all that we could take a look at? Screw it. Let's waste points on tight ends. See if there's anybody. Why the hell not? Burn through the points. Burn through them. We pretty much have everybody scouted anyway. So, we're good to go. We are good to go. We'll get the free agency recap. We'll get into the draft. And then we'll see what happens. So, let's see how this goes. League signings. So, Bortles went to the Chargers. Actually, we're just looking at top overalls. McCaffrey ended up going to Houston. Shit, I might regret that. Cohen to Seattle, Patrick Peterson to Oakland, and Njoku went to the Giants over us. Really? Really? Desmond King to the Patriots. Goddamn. Campbell to Washington. Trent Williams to the Colts. Kelsey to the Rams. Oh, boy. And Godwin also went to the Rams. That's always good when you see a lot of faces that you don't want to be anywhere near you in terms of competition. Go to competition. That's fine. Oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. To the draft we go, where yet again, it is completely up in the air as far as what we're going to do here. What I can tell you for sure is that I'm going to, make the old jump cut in the video. I'm going to go through the draft board, mark down everyone that we should look at, and then just try to figure out whether or not Nick Foley is the future of this team or not. So, we've come to the point where the draft board is completely sorted. And now we're left with the decision that I still haven't made as far as whether or not we're going to look to trade up. So here's the deal. Again, Nick Foley is number 1 on the board. Mike Bauer is number 4. He does have that extra A grade, although obviously the standard A for Foley as opposed to an A- is there. Quarterback-wise, it's a good draft for quarterbacks. Here's the thing. We need a quarterback. You could argue an extra wide receiver would be nice. Le'Veon Coangio is the top one out of Ohio State. Not quite a stover. Not necessary to trade up into the top 4 or 5 to get him, but at 6'6", ran a 4.6, a 40-inch vert. He's a bit of a beast, especially at 21, too. But again, that's not an instant like, oh my god, we have to trade up to get this guy. Because we might not even necessarily have to. We do have the 19th and 21st picks, so we would be able to trade up without having to give up a ton to get him. From there, if I actually sort out by the draft board, you do have a couple of O-linemen that are looking solid. Primarily CJ Blanca, who is just phenomenal and might be worth trading up to get. There are a couple of offensive linemen to look at in this draft. Jocelyn Moss is okay. Dion Vanette is pretty solid as well. DJ Riddick. So we have options, and then defensive line, if we wanted to trade Trent Murphy, we could look for a replacement. There's only one guy projected for the first round, that is Clayton Malone, and he's a mid-first round pick. So the pressure to trade up into the top 3, the top 5, is only there for Nick Foley. I wish it was Mick. Here's my concern with him. He's 24. There's not as much room to grow, whereas Mike Bauer is 21, and I feel like there might be that little bit of extra development time there for him. Lindsey Stevens as well out of Oklahoma at 21. It's a crapshoot with these quarterbacks, and that scares me. That scares me a lot. Not to say that the 24 Nick Foley isn't going to be, the instant monster. He might very well be the best player out of the draft, but is it worth trading up when I don't feel overly confident? That's the question. With Foley, the main concern is the fact that, again, he's 24 years old. The development time isn't going to be there as much. He needs to be that complete product right now, and I just don't know if he is. And then Blanca, who... is he worth trading up to number 1 to get? He honestly might be. I'm leaning more towards trying to trade up to get Blanca than I am a quarterback, which means to start off here, we're going to take a look at what Baltimore is interested in now. Of course, that doesn't exactly guarantee that, they're not going to take someone. They need a quarterback and they need offensive line help. There is just no way to guarantee what the hell they'd possibly look to take. There's also no guarantees that I'm going to be able to trade up here, but we might attempt it. We very well may attempt it. Again, they need a quarterback, which, I mean, we could completely give up on Josh Allen, who, again, reasons as to why he hasn't developed. There's multiple. Offensive line help, we really don't have anybody that we'd be able to give up. I mean, Dawkins, we'd be eating that bonus, so that really wouldn't work. And then linebacker-wise as well, the help really isn't there. Like, Dietrich Coleclaw is not going to have that much value for them. So if we wanted to trade up, it would require a ton of draft picks or Josh Allen, more than likely, because I doubt they have any interest. They do have some interest in Brian Diaz. This isn't going to go through, is it? All right. Okay. Damn it. Now here's the real concern, right? I don't want to trade up to get the first 2 picks because, of course, cap-wise, that's going to kill me. If I trade up, do I get the quarterback or do I get the lineman? And then looking at the performance this year of Josh Allen and what he was able to do behind a meh to okay offensive line, if he has a little bit more help, God, 99 throw power, but the accuracies are so bad. Scrambling quarterback style as well, even though he's, I mean, strong arm primarily. I don't know who to choose. I don't know who to pick. The 21-year-old, the 24-year-old, the lineman. Son of a bitch. And then if we make the wrong choice. You know what? I can't choose. I'm too afraid to mess it up. I'm going to sim the Baltimore pick. There are 2 quarterbacks and a lineman that I'm interested in. We'll let the game decide for me. And they took Foley, who's a 79 at 24 years old. I feel like we just dodged a bullet. Unless he has superstar development, we just dodged a bullet, I feel. And we're not going to know until later. Arizona, I'm going to sim this as well. They took Polanco. Shit. I feel like I'm going to regret that. I feel like his development's going to be kind of crazy. That's the one I regret. I should have traded up to get that guy. So the big question now, though, is whether or not Mike Bauer's the guy or if we just stick with Josh Allen. Now, in terms of early projections, Lindsey Stevens is also projected to go relatively early. I think Chandler was as well. I mean, it's one hell of a quarterback draft. Mike Bauer's the other guy I'd consider. And again, 6'4", 21 out of Auburn. Is Mike Bauer the guy? And when is he going to go off the board? Running back-wise, if these 2 fall, I'll consider it just for the value that was there. And then again, wideout-wise, you do have Coangio, who is looking solid. I mean, man, we could change him over to a tight end, and he could be an absolute monster. Jocelyn Moss was also projected to go early. Still looking pretty good as well. Dion Vanette was a late-round projection. DJ Riddick was a late-round projection. I think Orton was a mid. He was. I like Riddick a little bit more, though. And Elgin Hartman is a mid-first round, and Leckley's a late first round. So the only other guy to really consider there is Jocelyn Moss early on, and then defensive end-wise, again, like I said, it was Clayton Malone, who's a mid-first round pick. So we have a mid-first round wideout and defensive end, an early quarterback, and an early O-lineman. Do I have faith in Mike Bauer, or should I just stay with Josh Allen? Damn it. Should have traded up for Blanca at the very least. I'm going to leave it up to the game. And by that I mean, there's a quarterback I want, and there's an offensive lineman that I want. I'm going to see who goes off the board first, trade up and get the other. We'll leave it up to chance. We'll leave it up to fate. So if the lineman goes first, Josh Allen's gone. If the quarterback goes first, Josh Allen stays and has help for another season. And they took Thomas German, a linebacker. All right, the Jets are up at 4. They take Bradford Chandler, not Mike Bauer. And Chandler's an 80. So if you thought I was questioning the quarterback pick to begin with, I'm certainly concerned now. Donquell Artmore, 77 left end of the Colts. The Bears at 6. Take Jocelyn Moss at an 80. Probably should have traded up for either of those two O-linemen. Especially the first one. I'm so much less confident now in Mike Bauer. So much less confident because now I can't help but think if we hold off, right? If we hold off and just be like, fuck it, the wide receiver and Vinette, Riddick, Hartman, potentially Clayton Malone. Just keep our 2 picks and see who we get. I can't help but think that's not a terrible way to go. I think I'm just going to sim the pick, man. I don't know if I can have the confidence in Bauer. We've seen a 79. We've seen an 80. Where the hell is someone like Mike Bauer going to land? Good throw on the run as well, but even like a Benjamin Harrell with the good play action and throw power, but I just don't think I can be overly confident. Even like a Russell Summers as a backup might not be the worst option. I'm just not, like, I wish there was that one, like, okay, this guy is like the love child of Manning and Brady and we're good to go. I haven't exactly seen that. Josh Allen, I think I'm sticking with you. Jesus, at least I didn't make as bad of a pick as the Panthers, though, taking a 73 wideout with the 7th pick at 8. Kouangio goes a little bit early. 79 overall wideout goes to Detroit. With the 9th pick, Bauer was a 78. We'll look at the player developments at the end of the draft. There's going to be debate over what quarterback I should have traded up to get. And really, you might be able to say, well, you couldn't have gone wrong regardless, and I don't necessarily disagree. Phillip Orton goes off the board. I don't know. It's a tough call here. I feel like I could have traded up for some offensive linemen, more so as Anton Bowers goes off the board. Knew he was a good safety, but we couldn't prioritize that. The Chargers actually get back-to-back picks. They take Hartman. Okay, so this was a pretty good draft for quarterbacks and a pretty good draft for the O-line, is what we've discovered here. Now, we've still ended up with some decent improvements, so I'm not sweating it all that much. Quarterback-wise, at this point, I'm not concerned unless somebody slips. Wide receiver-wise, I'm not concerned. The big thing now is O-line help. I mean, Vinette, Riddick, or Leckie will get 1, if not 2 out of 3. And potentially Clayton Malone. I think I'm just going to stand pat here, not end up paying the extra to trade up, and we'll just see what happens. As Evan Stafford is a 79. Again, it all depends on the development. San Francisco takes Vinette. He was a 78, so they went off the board to take him early, too. I think he was a late, not a mid. We have those 2 picks coming up here. At 15, Minnesota takes Riddick. My patience and unwillingness to trade up is biting me in the ass here for sure. Stevens is a 77. Washington gets Tavares Carr, and Pittsburgh ends up taking Trevathan. Quarterback-wise, I'm not as concerned. It's all going to be like, well, in hindsight. Because right now, again, we have no way to tell how good some of these guys are. We just don't. In terms of development, yeah, the good overalls, sure, starting overalls, but it depends on the development pattern. O-line wise, it just said about Belanca at the bottom there that, I mean, he should be can't miss. Wide receiver wise as well, okay, at least we ended up bringing in Cooper Kupp, so it doesn't hurt as much. It's just whether or not I should have traded up to get that extra bit of O-line help. Warren Leckie, not Jerron Benjamin, thank you. Warren Leckie is still on the board. Late first round. The bench press is a bit low, but should be a decent option. Maybe not a game changer, but our last hope to get a solid game changer here. And then hopefully we can also end up with Clayton Malone. To be honest, I'm going to take Clayton Malone first. He's projected to go a little bit sooner. So we're going to get that extra defensive tackle that will allow me to make an extra trade, and hopefully we can still get Warren Leckie. So we're still looking okay. It's just whether or not I should have traded up. But Clayton Malone, out of Michigan State. 21, 6'7", 40 reps on the bench press. 40 reps. Did I just say 40 reps? 40 reps on the bench press. Jesus, I can't speak. Good pursuit for a defensive tackle, which is kind of scary. The hit power as well, but decent block shedding. He's projected as an early second rounder, though. I didn't even notice that. He's projected as an early second rounder with mid-first round talent. Do we take him early? I think regardless, he's my pick. Regardless, he's my pick in terms of talent. There is, though, Bryant Boston, who at 23 I'm a little bit concerned about, but the stats are amazing. We don't need him though; he wouldn't play. Anthony Dean also at safety. He's 24, fast as hell, pretty good vert jump at 5'10". But I think we have our two picks here. We're going for the O lineman, unless I wanted to put trust in Mason Bird, which I don't. We are going to go ahead with Lecky to make sure we get him first, actually. So out of Notre Dame, Warren Lecky, welcome to Buffalo. Please don't be terrible. Thank God. Okay. A little bit of redemption. 11th in true talent. We took him at, 18th, 19th? As, strangely enough, okay, that's a heart attack waiting.
A few moments later.
So I'm not going to be able to hide the jump cut. It's going to be far too obvious, of course, thanks to Mr. Warren Lecky here, bouncing around all over the screen. I don't know if you've ever had the experience of recording a video and then the lights in your house go off. Don't know why. They won't turn back on either, but everything else is good. I have power in my house, but the lights went off. I felt like I was going to get jumped by the NWO. That said, we'll continue onward, talking, of course, about whether or not I didn't, made or did not make the right choice in not trading up. We still end up getting Warren Lecky out of this draft, 11th in true talent, 22 years old with quick development. Maybe my patience paid off. I said a few minutes ago, maybe my patience was costing me. Maybe my patience paid off. So we end up getting Warren Lecky, and we should be able to get that defensive tackle as well, potentially even trading down to get him later on. We'll see who the Rams take here, and they take Bryant Boston, who you could tell was going to be pretty damn good. I could have taken him and then looked to have traded him or somebody else, but it is what it is. We were able to address a need, and we'll be able to do so again here. I'm just wondering if I trade down, can I do so for later on in this first round? If someone's interested in doing that, which I highly doubt. I'd probably have to look at that option myself. Next pick is the second round, 9th overall. Let's see here. I should just trade down. I should. Let's see if we can make a deal with, Seattle's on the board. Hopefully no one else has discovered that this guy is a half-decent talent, and I can get away with this. Is that likely to happen? Probably not, just because that's my luck. But overall, so far, we have gotten a pretty damn solid offensive lineman. It's just whether or not, I should have focused on best player available, or maybe even, trading up at the time. There's going to be that debate over how I should have handled this, but so far, so good. We'll see how the rest of this draft goes. Can I get a third? No. That would have been so bad. And again, too, the joys of this being on, an online mode, so I don't have the option to restart even if I wanted to. It brings that extra bit of panic. Can I get a 5th rounder out of it? I'll take a 5th rounder just to move down 6 spots. Oh my God, Seattle, you're killing me here. Really? I'll take a 6th rounder just to move down 5 spots. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Let me go talk to the Patriots, and if they're not willing to do this, then whatever. I'll just make the pick. So New England, you're first, and I'll take a 6th. That's all I'm looking for. Okay, yep, screw it. I'll make the pick. Whatever. We'll just make the selection. It'll be fine. We didn't get Bryant Boston. We missed out on the best wide receiver in this draft. I'm okay with it. We didn't end up taking a quarterback. We're going to trust in Josh Allen. We are, though, going to go a little bit off the board to end up with the best defensive line talent remaining in this draft, that being Clayton Malone. Or Clayton Malone. Clayton? Jesus, I can't speak today. Clayton Malone. Clayton. He's 21. He's our guy. Please be decent. Thank God. Okay. So at the very least, right? At the very least, the 2 picks I did end up making in this draft in the first round we delivered. 21, 79 overall, quick development, 15th overall in true talent. Clayton Malone, I can't say your name, but that's okay. At the very least, you should be a strong talent for us moving forward. So, very happy with those 2 picks, considering we chose to be patient. The Eagles take Stanley Berry. Anthony Dean goes to Kansas City. Richardson to the Saints. Shockley, right tackle, 75. So we certainly did better than Green Bay. Patriots take a 73 middle linebacker. Whether or not the talent dips here will be an interesting development. I mean, there's that obvious trend of, 3-4 years into the draft, things really decline in terms of the players entering the draft and entering the league, and you can just tell by the picks here. Great. Granted, Leighton Ware to Houston ended up being half decent because, of course, Houston has to be improving. Benjamin Harrell, that could be a steal for Atlanta, defending champions. They end up getting Matt Ryan's replacement. Donald Shade is an 81. He ended up falling. Thomas Collier's there. Who else do we have? Wade Maddox was a 77. That's a good early, round pickup. Malcolm Goodwin, that other top-notch running back, is gone. Roman Dixon, Chicago gets a 76 quarterback in Mason Bird. 75 left guard in Eckel, and Detroit gets Francis Small. So we need to be 100% set in stone here and convinced that whoever I take next is the right guy. Hanson Erickson is available. It might not be a bad backup option. Russell Summers is there as well. Erickson fell out of the first round. Let's see here. Wide receiver wise, Tavares Darius at 23 ran a 4.6. Not a great vert for someone at 6'2". Not overly fast or overly agile for someone who looks like he's going to be a slot receiver. It could work. We do have 2 second-round picks. He might be worth taking later on, but not right now. Let's see. Who else is an option at this point? Nobody on the O-line. Rashawn Fluellen, 23. Late second-round talent. Yeah, and the numbers kind of match that as well. Defensive tackle, Stephen J. Pemberton. Also a late second-round talent, which, again, you look at the combine and everything else, it kind of adds up. Linebacker-wise, Logan Ioslik. The Ioslik, a hell of a name. Mid-second-round talent, pursuit, finesse, moves, and tackle are up there. Not overly fast, not overly strong, relatively agile, though. And then Branch Freeman, also a second-round talent, late second-round talent. Quite fast at a 4.6. Ioslik was at a 4.8. Relatively fast, relatively agile. The strength is a bit of a concern, despite the hit power being where it is. This might not be the worst spot in which to trade down, or we take that quarterback just to see if we've pulled a rabbit out of the hat and found a true steal. Hanson Erickson, hell of a name, late first-round talent, 21 years old. It might be worth a shot. It might be. Maybe somehow, someway, Hanson Erickson just fell to us with the second pick, and he's going to be half decent. It's either that or I trade away the pick. I'm not too concerned about trading away the pick. Let's take a chance. Hanson Erickson, why not? At a Michigan State. How good are you? In fairness, you're not terrible. He's a 76 at 21 with quick development. He's not significantly better than Josh Allen. As a matter of fact, he's about even. Hanson Erickson, though. Interesting. We might have a quarterback battle now coming out of camp. That could be a possibility. As at this point, with the draft looking as weak as it is, let's just go ahead and sim to our next pick. Michael Lewis, a defensive tackle, goes to the Rams. Let's see who else we have here. So Hanson Erickson. It's an interesting pickup for us. Darius is also still there at this point. He might be the next guy unless I want to trade down. There was also Fluellen. So Fluellen, Freeman, or that wideout Darius. We do need a fourth wideout, preferably. Defensive end help, we've already brought in somebody else. We do need the linebacker depth. I'd say more than wide receiver depth. So I think we might go with Branch Freeman. Again, fast, agile, not the best in terms of strength. But unless there's somebody better here, there are some guys grade-wise that look a little bit better. A Nate Potter, For example, the block, shedding the tackle, the pursuit, which, I mean, not the greatest of speed, decent agility and strength, though. Freeman, though, I have a feeling, of course, being an earlier on pick, he'll have the better chance at a decent bit of development. But when you look at some of these grades, that's a tough one. You know what? Give me a moment. I think I'm going to go through the draft board again here because I don't necessarily want to waste these picks. The quarterback pick was fine. I don't want to waste this pick, though. So give me a minute. I'm going to look back through, just double check over our potential options. So needless to say, this draft has turned into one hell of a process, from interruptions to indecisiveness, so on and so forth. I've sorted out the board for who I'm looking at in the rest, or for the rest of this draft, and there really isn't anyone at this point of the draft that I'm looking to get. Next up will be these guys here, especially Cordell Turner. This guy looks like he could be one hell of a steal. I don't believe any of them are projected to go early. They're not. So any of these four that we could get early on in the third round, and Hanspard for that matter at defensive tackle, although that's not as big of a need, we'll look to get. So we're going to try to trade down here just to get the little bit of extra resources. We do have the 10th pick of the third round, so we'll see what we can get here. And whether or not we should have taken a certain quarterback, who's to say? That'll be interesting though to see how that plays out. We have a second and third offer from Seattle that we are going to take. That is a hell of an offer from the Seahawks. So we couldn't get a deal done with them earlier. We'll get a deal done now. Who did they end up taking? They get a 74. They took Darius, who as you would have seen, I took off my board as I wasn't really impressed with the numbers there. As far as the top three grades in the combine, looks like I made the right choice. So we'll see who's available at this point in time. We have 2 of the next 3 picks, and we will see. So one of the guys ended up off the board. I don't remember who it was, to be honest, though. So we have Hosey Livingston. Of course, we do need some depth linebackers. He's not the greatest. He's just okay. Whereas Cordell Turner, again, the vert jump at 6'2" is unreal. And then Genther as well, not the most agile, but relatively strong, and at 21 could be a half-decent option. So Cordell Turner, no doubt, is the top option here. Yeah, so not the best development, but a 77 overall that provides us good depth at corner. So with Mike Hilton transferring now up to our third spot on the depth chart, Turner's going to provide that decent bit of depth. Coverage-wise, not the greatest, and you could argue with that jumping and with the speed as well, maybe he'd be better suited in a different spot. 80 tackle, maybe he'd be better suited as a linebacker. Like, who knows? There's options for Cordell Turner, but I'm happy to end up with him. And next up, we need the offensive line depth more than we need another backup linebacker. So Roman Genther, just for the fact that you're 6'7" and pretty damn strong at 21 out of Kentucky, he is the pick. He's not great, but depth at the very least, which we certainly need. 75 overall at 21. Normal development, you never know. He might upgrade to quick development within the next couple of seasons, but I'm okay with that as well for a third round pick. We do have quite a few thirds, of course. There's only that one other guy that I was interested in. The linebacker, is he still there? He is not. So we will be trading down to the 4th round, and we should be able to get through the remainder of this draft fairly quickly, thank God. So there's the 3rd round pick this year. I'll pass on that. A 3rd and a 5th next year. That's looking pretty good from Tennessee. We will take that. 3rd and a 5th round pick next year. Don't mind if I do. Let's skip to our next pick. It's not too far from now. We have the 3rd pick of the 4th round, so we can trade this selection away without a concern. Is there a 3rd next year option? There is the 3rd next year option. Well, you know, Cleveland was actually pretty good. Cleveland was okay. Washington, Carolina. Let's take it. I mean, then Jesus, Atlanta won. All right, Cleveland will take your pick. That's fine. 3rd round pick this year for a 3rd round pick next year. Fair enough trade to me. And that'll move us into the 4th round. Jack Varga, 76 right guard. Not a bad pick up there. Arizona's going pretty heavy on the O-line. Of course, they got that one guy who I probably should have gotten. So here in the 4th round, we have 3 guys. We have a tight end in Haynes Davey, who I'm not that interested in, admittedly. And then 2 linebacker options. We have Martez Bookman at 22. not all that fast, relatively agile, and certainly not that strong. And then Nate Potter, kind of a similar story. I feel like Potter's the better option here, though, by far. And then Davey could be worth it. We're kind of set at tight end, so I probably won't go for him. To be honest, I think we're just going to go for Potter here and look to move on. So Nate Potter out of UAB, there we go. 22nd in true talent, normal development, but again at 21, that could turn into quick development, and he is the perfect addition at linebacker. That pretty much solves the linebacker depth, especially after we brought back Milano. And that's one hell of a steal when you see some of the other levels of talent, like a 70 wide receiver that happened to be being picked at this point in the draft. So that was one hell of a find for us. As we'll see here, a 4th round pick next year is what we're looking at. So we'll make this deal with the Saints. We have another 4th round pick as well that we'll look to get rid of. We have a couple of them, apparently. Let's go ahead and trade them away, though. I'm not overly sold by anybody later on in the 5th round, so I'm okay with making these moves. 4th round pick next year from Atlanta. Don't mind if I do. And maybe we'll make this next pick just for the hell of it if there isn't that half decent of an offer. They ended up with a 73 left end. So let's see, 2022 selections, none. So we will go ahead and make this pick. We'll take somebody a little bit early. The fact that Freeman's still there as a 4th round talent's interesting, but I wasn't overly sold on him. So we have Bennett Way, Tyrell Sims, Malcolm Worrell, and Bryant Pyle at safety. Who, I mean, at 6'2", the best vert jump among safeties, could be a strong pick. Malcolm Worrell, pretty fast, pretty agile, pretty damn good for a defensive end. Tyron Sims is 6'4", with a 40-inch vert. He's 24, though. And then Bennett Way is just kind of well-rounded. That's the only way to look at it. But two 24-year-old wide receivers, I'm going to prioritize Pyle and Worrell first. And, I mean, Bryant Pyle at 6'2" with that vert jump. I'm going for him. Why not? The 21-year-old out of UTEP, the UTEP. He's not that great, unfortunately. 21.75, though. So, like I always say, has a chance to develop decent depth for us at the moment. It was worth a shot with him. As we will move way late into the 5th round. So, odds are who I want, it's not going to be here still. But we had a couple of options. Worrell's still there. So we'll take him. Why not? Get that defensive end addition. Another 21-year-old. I'll take it. 31st in true talent. 77 overall at 21 years old. Malcolm Worrell. It's been another solid draft for us in terms of depth. You could certainly debate the decision-making at the beginning of the draft, though, as we'll end up getting the wide receiver as well. Tyron Sims, again, 6'4" with a 40-inch vertical, might be changed over to a tight end. Probably will be, because he's a 72. So, he can jump, that's about it, so that's good. I'll take it. Might end up being some decent tight end depth, even though we have 3 decent options at the moment. And then the final pick here of the 5th round, I don't think we'll be looking to take anybody. This is actually our last pick of the draft. And on the draft board, the only guy left is McCray, this fullback, who I was kind of interested in case he has half-decent development. Can I trade down for a pick later in this draft, but also pick up a selection later on? I can't. All right, so you know what? I will take a fullback in the 5th round, and we will end this draft. Jamon McCray out of Clemson, who unfortunately does not have decent development. It was worth a shot. So that will end our draft, which, how am I feeling about it? Somewhat optimistic. Should I be? I'll leave that up to you. Overall, though, I feel like we did okay, especially having not traded up. I feel as though we did relatively well. To not only get Lecky, who ended up being half decent, again, we're not going to have to pay him an arm and a leg now, and Clayton Malone, I feel like we did well. I mean, we took a lot of younger guys. The oldest guy that we took was 22, up until we took Sims, who was 24. So we definitely went with the youth. Hanson Erickson, it does have me concerned that some of the other quarterbacks in this draft that we passed on are going to be really good. Like, if he has that development pattern, we may have made the mistake there. But some of these other guys as well will provide some good depth. So we'll take a look Let's go to the first round. Nick Foley, moment of truth here at 24 years old. Star developments. What do you guys think? Did we make a mistake? Now, if he was 21 with that development pattern, I'd be crying in the corner. But he is 24. He's not going to have as much development time. What do you think? Did we make a mistake there? I guarantee we made a mistake here. Only quick development. Still made a mistake. Still should have gotten him, but only quick development. Okay. All right. I mean, it had been star or superstar. I don't know. Maybe we would have been disappointed if we traded up to 1 or 2 to draft him, and he was only quick development. Still better than anybody we have right now, though. Thomas German, star development at 21. Damn good linebacker. Bradford Chandler at 4. Also, quick development, 80 overall, 21 years old. Would we have gone for Bradford Chandler? Don't necessarily know. Probably not. That's more of a, shit, with hindsight, we could have gone with him, but there was really no way to tell. Artmore as well, quick development. Let's start looking for the guys that I was interested in. Jocelyn Moss. Okay. I regret the Belanca move. Should have traded up for Jocelyn Moss. Flat out should have. That's going to be one that we regret. 21 years old, star development. That is going to be one that we regret. And the second that Belanca went off the board and Jocelyn Moss was the last guy left in terms of early first-round projections on the O-line, I should have traded up for him. And go figure, 2 years in a row, the Chicago Bears are the beneficiaries of my hesitance. 2 years in a row. Oh my God. I keep botching first rounds. I'm doing so well outside of the first round. But my hesitance in the first round, I don't know why I have it, because I'm so worried that I'm going to botch it. Wow. I told you he was the top receiver in the draft. He's not quite a stover, but he might be at a certain point in the future. Should have traded up for Moss. Definitely should have traded up. That's the thing, though. Detroit went off the board, right? He was projected as mid. The game doesn't consider mid-first round until after the 10th pick. So Detroit went off the board to get him. There was really no way to know. And again, that's with hindsight that he's superstar development. There wasn't much in the draft. That's not a Stover situation where it's like, dude, what the fuck? I knew he was good and I didn't take him. I knew he was good. I didn't know he was going to be superstar development, though. So, Mike Bauer. Quick development at 21 and a 78. There will be that discussion. At the very least, did I screw up in not trading up to draft a quarterback? Belanca probably could have traded up to get. Moss and Kawangio, I wish I traded up to get, but there was really no way to know at the time. Philip Orton as well, superstar development, but he is 24. God damn, Anton Bowers at safety, I knew was going to be pretty damn good too, and he is. Elgin Hartman as well at right tackle. Quick developments. Let's take a look at Evan Stafford. Quick development at 21. Yeah, there's room for discussion here. This was the draft to trade up and take O-lineman. We still did okay with the offensive line. Oh my God. And again, you know the worst part of this is anyone would be like, well, hey, fuck it, restart it. We won't tell nobody. Like, no, I can't, even if I wanted to. I told you DJ Riddick was going to be pretty good too. Turned out to be correct. That turned out to be correct. God damn it. And Lindsey Stevens also quick development. Again, we still ended up with Warren Leckie, who's pretty damn good. But some of these other guys as well. Of course, it's the case too. I'm not going to be able to end up with everybody. But yeah, a lot of this with hindsight. You know, you had that assumption that they were going to be great. You had the assumption they were going to be great. You hold off on trading up for them. How big of a mistake was that? I'm intrigued to see what you guys have to say as far as, did we handle things the right way when it comes to not trading up for quarterbacks, not trading up for other members of the offensive line, and of course a team like Detroit really screwing me over and taking that wide receiver a little bit earlier. But looking at the roster, Allen and Erickson, we do have somewhat of a quarterback controversy at the moment, a little bit of a competition. Let me know what you think in that regard. Do we stick with Allen and give him a chance this season? Running back wise, there's a chance I keep Bryce Love just as a depth option. No reason to not to, really. I could take a look at the depth chart and let you know if he's good at third down situations. Wide receiver wise, though, we could use a fourth option. We could, because Von Key isn't exactly great. But the top three options looking better than they have at any other point. But yeah, wide receiver-wise, God, Detroit ended up getting someone I really wish we had gotten. Tight end-wise, we're still looking okay with Eric Ebron, Ellis Hollier, and Jason Peck. Hopefully Hollier can stay healthy this year. And in offensive line-wise, we're going to have to sort things out a little bit. But the addition of Warren Leckie certainly helps, especially if Helfet's still hurt. So, defensive line-wise, Joe Jackson's still there developing. And now we have Fowler Jr., Allen, Shaq Lawson. Defensive tackle-wise, we have Malone. So there's a decent chance that I trade Trent Murphy just to free up that money. Maybe we can do something with that. Linebacker-wise, Edmonds and Potter. We still need a middle linebacker option for depth, but we're looking okay there. Corner-wise, we're still looking all right with White, Burns, and Hilton, and Turner, who we just took in the draft. Safety-wise, Poyer, Bradford, and Pyle. We also have Simon on the other side. So overall, we're still in the best spot we've been in as a team throughout our first 3 seasons at the helm of this organization. It's just, again, could we be further along? Yes, especially depending on how the draft has gone. But a lot of it is with hindsight. You know, again, Detroit going off the board, getting that wide receiver. Jocelyn, whatever the hell his name was, being superstar developments. You know, there's frustration in that, but there's only so much you can do in the moment. But let me know, how do you think I handled the draft? I'll have this roster set up for our 4th season with the Bills heading into the next episode, and we'll be good to go from that point on. So as far as how we handled the draft, free agency, who starts at quarterback, let me know what you think down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, guys, have a good one. Take it easy. Goodbye for now.